Well, welcome to Bullseye, and we will look forward to Game 2. Game 1 was phenomenal. We'll probably get into that just a little bit with the Bulls beating Boise State and beating them something, 34-7. There's so much to get to. You're going to hear from head coach Alex Golesh, along with Nimrod, who had himself a big day receiving, had a big catch that got the offense going, and it seemingly didn't stop. Want to get you guys' observations, Caylee Cottrell and Joey Johnston, as you're both on the sidelines covering it all. What jumped out at you among many things, Caylee?
I mean, it was electric down there. Honestly, for me, it was super cool to see Byram be Byram again. I mean, that passing game with his playmakers and Chaz and Keyshawn, but we all know he can run the ball, and he did just that too. And the power that he has, I mean, you can see the impact on TV, but when you're down there, the impact and the power that he has, he's just such a unit. And the power is incredible. So he's such a force. And I talked to him after the game. I said, I know that was a long time coming for you. And he said it was a long time. And just to be out there with the guys was all he can ask for. And he's like, I'm already stoked for next week. So
part of our radio coverage is basically the last word from the head coach. And one thing that jumped out at me with Alex Golesh, you're going to hear from in just a few minutes, was he told our Jim Lauk that Byram is at another level right now. And to hear him say that, and he showed it, you're going to see some of those highlights as well here in a second. Joey, it wasn't just one side of the ball.
No, I think the defense was definitely at another level. In the third quarter, I'm on the field and chit-chatting a bit with Sam Barrington, and I tried to think about it, and I said, Sam, I think this is the best defensive game I've seen from USF against a good team since you played. And I believe it was, because all these wins that USF has had in the last, say, 15 years, a lot of it's been offense, 45-35, but this is like a shutdown game. And this is the way it was back when Sam played, and even before then, when the Bulls had great wins over top 10, top 25 teams. It was about defense, it was about violence, it was about vicious defense, and that's what I saw on the field. Not only aggression, but great tackling, great poise. And really, it just seemed like we could have played another couple of quarters and Boise State wouldn't have scored there either.
Among the many stats that I noticed about Boise coming in as part of the radio prep I do was that since 2020, they were the nation's second leading scoring team per game, somewhere around 37. Bulls held them to, as you know, just 7. Now, yes, we're going to celebrate that win, and we're going to talk to the head coach and Chaz Nimrod about it. And then we'll move on to the next challenge, which is this Saturday against the Florida Gators. But after a win, you get to watch the cinematic recap. And then the head coach, Alex Golesh, here on Bullseye.
We are all the way back. Welcome back to Thursday Night College Football.
South Florida Bulls get ready to take on the Boise State Broncos.
Why wouldn't you want to go and play the best teams in the country? I think that's the best part about playing college athletics.
Everybody knows the story by now. Last year's playoff darling.
You may change the numbers, you may change the names on the back of the jersey. One thing that doesn't change after 25 years is the process.
Go tell your story. Tell your story with your pads. Protect the culture for each other.
Week 1 of the college football season is here as we kick off in Tampa.
Madsen throws. Broncos strike first. And it's Boise State taking advantage of the turnover on downs. Did not let the penalties get them.
Brown, time, takes a shot, has a receiver, caught for Chaz Nimrod. Grammaticus kick. It's Tampa, Automatica. He's gonna run it again. I'll tell you what, when I said that he's big, he just went low on Banks and won that one for a gain of 10.
Davin Banks tries to come up and set the edge right there. Not gonna happen against a 230-pounder.
Oh, what a shot over the middle to Singleton. He's their big play receiver from a year ago. Ty Benefield brings him down. Second quarter, first half, it's been entertaining. Can Brown add some yardage? Has to stake away from the pocket. He's got space. There goes Byram. Touchdown, Bulls. Just when you think you've got him bottled up. Gains, space, balls out, picked up by South Florida. Another turnover for this Bulls defense.
Madsen gonna throw. pressure. He will be sacked. Rico Watson.
You just wonder who's going to break through at some point. Fake! He's got it! What a call! Singleton! Balls! Touchdown! At the end of last season, they said Keyshawn Singleton, he came on. He was a guy that needs to be out there and perform for us. Alvon Isaac in the backfield. Brown's going to fake it to him. He's going to take a shot deep. Looking for Nimrod.
Nimrod doing the post route over the top.
And the Bulls are in business. Tempo. Brown has the corner. Touchdown. Boy, has he shown up in a national spotlight in his return to college football. 24-7 South Florida over Boise State. Tempo. Up the middle. Knockout. So what a start for Alex Golesh year 3.
Everything that Alex Golesh for South Florida spoke to us about this week came to fruition today. Tonight, South Florida made a statement against the premier program at the Group 5 level of college football playoff participant a year ago.
I'm really proud, just like I was before. If you play for each other, you got a chance. It's your brotherhood. You set the standard, do not pull back. We're going to correct it, we're going to coach it really, really hard, and then we're going to go right back to work.
Well, you just saw a lot of highlights, and yes, there's a pretty big game to move on to, but you might ask Coach Golesh about a couple of those moments. First of all, if you guys didn't see the show last week, we constantly talked about how it wasn't going to rain, how the black uniforms were going to work and be the coolest uniforms I've ever seen. I'm serious on that. And, of course, how Lachlan Hewlett was going to do what he did. So many things happened in that game, Coach, and I know you're looking forward, but you still have got to think back pretty positively on the turn of events against Boise.
Yeah, I think ultimately we talked about it being a four-quarter game. We pushed that as the biggest piece of what it was going to come down to. We were going to have to go play harder for longer in that game. Just who Boise is, who they have been, a team that wasn't going to tap out, and we were going to have to go play harder than them, which for 4 quarters in my time here has been the biggest challenge, to go finish tough games. Not that we didn't play hard, but to play hard and smart and efficient for 4 quarters. And we certainly did that. I thought defensively that was the spark. What we were able to do in terms of causing the turnovers and forcing those guys to go for it on 4th down and the 4th down stops to create the extra possessions for the offense. And as the offense took a minute to get going and kind of couldn't get out of our own way there for a minute, it was some big time defensive plays that spurred one, the field goal, then the touchdown. And then certainly the fake punt kind of opened it up and then gave us some momentum going into the 4th quarter to go and really finish the game.
So the fake punt with Lachlan Hewlett, the fans can't get enough of that, and they seem to say that you have a large anatomical, I can't really say it on a family show here, but
thank you, Joey.
You got some guts to try this, and I know that's kind of your style. You go for it on 4th down, you push the envelope. Is that just an example of you just have a conviction and you're just going to do it without looking back? Is that how you approach these things?
You know, I think it's really, really hard to go tell your guys and preach to your guys that you got to let it all go. You got to let it hang out and you got to go. I think if you're gonna sell that and recruit that way and preach that in how you train and how you prepare, and then not show it, I think you're gonna somebody's going to call BS on it within your locker room. So I think for us, it's not that they're not calculated. Every single shot we take on offense, on defense, and special teams is calculated. But you can't make the shot if you don't take it either. And was it Wayne Gretzky said it?
That's it.
And so we practice that play a lot. We certainly are very outside the box in terms of how we operate. Sometimes it doesn't work, and then everybody says that you're an idiot. But you got to be willing to take that. Then with the positives that happen too, even going forward on fourth down, analytically, if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or we don't feel good about the matchup or the play we have going in, then you're not going to go for it on fourth down. But if it makes sense, then why would you give the ball up if you can keep it? And it's a game of possessions. It's a game of keeping the football, and the fake punt was part of it. That fake punt, there were days it looked really good. There were days it didn't look really good. But the last 2 days leading up to it, it looked awesome. And Locke got the steps down, and we got the look we wanted. The part I missed was to tell the PA announcer not to announce that Locke was in. I didn't realize that it was announced that way, but everybody else told me after the game that it was announced that Lachlan Hewlett was in at punter. And I'm like, man, of all the checklist items that I made, I added another one.
I didn't know that, actually.
I heard it.
Well,
I kept my mouth shut because we're next to the Boise State coaches in our booth. I wasn't going to mess with it.
Well, I added it to my checklist. If you're going to sneak somebody in at punter, which I don't know when it's going to work again, but if you're going to sneak somebody in at punter, make sure your own PA announcer doesn't announce it. Yeah. It's on the checklist.
Yeah.
I like watching things afterwards, the game's back, for reactions. First of all, you were very cool on the fake punt. You waited until Keyshawn was in the end zone before you reacted. Secondly, Sam Barrington in the radio booth has never been so violent in his enthusiasm. You made a linebacker proud as we get to the defense. / Coach Gio on the first Byron Brown truck run just sort of gave it that nod, like that's how we are, that's who we are. Not just with him, but obviously with the defense. Physicality. It seems like that's going to be a calling card.
Yeah, that's been the biggest challenge for us. We walked into a group when we got here defensively that statistically has been highly publicized what it was, but I think there was this lack of confidence and this lack of grit and tenacity, and that's where Coach Orlando was the perfect guy for that job, because one, it was going to take time. He's been a part of building, but two, there's a certain toughness and grit and patience with that toughness and grit that you need to have in terms of how you build it. And you talk about building from the ground up. And I know we've talked a lot about Mac Harris's comment of man, like when you don't have somebody to look up to at your position, and Sam Barrington's a great example. There was no Sam Barrington in that room that Mac and Shu got to point to and say, man, I need to be like him. And when you don't, you have to be the one that sets the example as a coach. And we've talked about it ad nauseum, that as long as it's being led by the coaches, you're going to cap out somewhere. Right. At this point defensively, we have slowly but surely become player driven. And it's Shu and Mac, and it's Tav and Ward, and Fred Gaskin is watching how Tav works, and so Fred is emulating that. You look at our corner position with Ruck leading and Ben Knox leading, and you got Chenault following them, and now you saw Jonas DeClona, and you saw him step up and played almost 60 snaps of incredible football. And then you look at that D-line group, and they've had some examples, but now you've got a Josh Seliskar and a Jacob Merrifield and a Devin Lee, and these guys are leading these young guys, and you could point to somebody and say, man, this is what you play like, this is what you prepare like. That's ultimately how you build culture. And now we're at a point, that doesn't mean it's not going to go bad at times, but we're at a point where it's a really confident group that for all the mistakes that were made on Thursday night, they were covered up by elite effort. They were covered up by a bunch of guys running to the football and causing a bunch of havoc. And that was the blueprint for Todd when he got here. That staff has done a really good job of buying into it. And as the staff has, the players have, it's been really cool to watch the transformation.
So we're on to Gainesville, off to the Swamp. Really tough place to play, a great environment. How do you get this team ready for that environment, and how big is it, how you handle that environment?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely huge that the environment doesn't dictate the game. I think that's probably the biggest challenge. There's a reason why home field advantage is home field advantage, but our job is to prepare our guys, specifically offensively where crowd noise is a factor, to operate in such a way that the crowd noise doesn't affect how you perform. A lot of that is practice, creating those circumstances in practice. Got a team that's creating that crowd noise, the ebbs and flows of the crowd noise being a factor. The heat's going to be a factor. It's a factor for both teams. But you're trying to do everything you can to make sure it is not a factor. Fastest way to eliminate crowd noise is to score a bunch of points. But for us, preparation, and we've got experience as a staff. A lot of the guys have been in it, but experience as a staff, this is how we've been at places where this is how every away game is. And so it's just getting our kids used to it. So when they step into the arena, it's just another day of practice for them. So today was a really good day of that. Tomorrow's another one where we're going to have to take another step and prepare. But you know that place has got the ability to get cranked. And it's the coolest thing about college football is playing in environments like this in meaningful games that people are excited about.
One group that has to deal with the noise in an interesting way is the offensive line communication, all that. I wanted to praise, I'm not big on cliche questions when you hear somebody say, hey, what adjustments do you make? But I wouldn't mind if you took me through the halftime adjustment process, because it seemed like the blocking was just vastly improved in the second half. Running game started to pop. Byram had time. And oh yeah, the offensive line this week against Florida and getting through that part of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with just simply the presentations we were getting. Boise was going to do a really good job of stopping the run. They were going to do a really good job of taking the quick perimeter touches away. And predictable, maybe. That's been our DNA. That's been our identity. They did a really good job. We had to adjust. And to be honest with you, in the first half, there was very few opportunities. The biggest one was negated by a holding penalty that kind of backed us up. But there were very few opportunities to really get going and get in a rhythm. And I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I'll take all the blame there. I think we regrouped at halftime. I think Coach Hoodie and Coach James and the crew that really handles the run game did a really good job of making some adjustments, kind of changed up what we were doing, and instead of trying to fit a little bit of a square peg in a round hole, we said let's run around the square peg. And
there you go.
And honestly got Byram going, involved in the run game, which again, when you're playing a loaded box, there's your extra hat. And I was trying to be a little bit guarded of that early, and then I saw him kind of take off and take it over, and it's where he feels best and kind of gets his momentum and his juice going. But I thought the offensive line settled in really nicely. The tight ends, the backs, Byram settled in really nicely and got their groove going. Part of week one, part of playing a really good defense. I think a combination of all that. Getting ready for this group on Saturday, different. One, the communication piece, Joey, you just hit on, is certainly a factor. Those guys got to be in sync. One guy can't be going before the other, and you certainly don't want to be laid off the ball against these guys that you're playing. Really long on the outside, really big inside. You're going to need every advantage to get guys moving. So huge for them, just as much as operationally on offense. Those five guys feeling in sync, in rhythm, with the crowd noise and the snap being a little bit different.
And one more in this game, if I could. People tuning in are going to be treated to a couple of really good quarterbacks. Byram Brown for USF, DJ Lagway for Florida. Speak about Lagway, what you see from him on film, and what challenges this guy presents to our USF defense.
Yeah, I think without knowing him, he certainly presents himself on film, DJ, as a pro. Poised as can be. I think that's the first thing you look at a quarterback is, does he get rattled? And he doesn't. For a young guy that was a freshman a year ago, came in, and you could kind of see a group rally around him. So you know the leadership is right, you know his demeanor is right, but you watch, and when things break down for him, the poise, the ability to escape the pocket, the off-schedule throws are what's about as impressive as anything else you'll see. Super accurate deep ball. He's grown as an intermediate passer, but I mean, an arm that can rip it about as far as you need it to. and the poise. You see this 6'3", 240, whatever pound human being that's poised, under control for a young kid. Really, 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 really impressive. And obviously highly touted coming out of high school, but the way he's handled that, and again, I watched the film. I don't know the human being. I'm not in the locker room, but it certainly seems like guys believe in him, and the poise and the control he has of a game is really, really impressive.
Well, there will be a lot of talent on the field on both sides. Your team showed it out to the nation. Thank you for all the time, Coach.
I appreciate it. Go Bulls.
They do have a lot of players that have played in that environment, some from Tennessee. One of them is coming up next on Bullseye. Chaz Nimrod. Now one of those many contributors for the Bulls on the offensive side and many newcomers on the offensive side. Chaz Nimrod. Chaz, number 2, had 3 big catches for 96 yards. I'm sure it was great to get back out there on the field and being productive. How was it from your point of view?
It was a lot of fun. From my point of view, it was my first time ever playing in Raymond James, so it's a good first game in Raymond James Stadium. The team played well. The defense came out, they were flying around. They played really well. And then offense, we played good too. There's definitely some things to clean up. But yeah, it was week 1, so just improve from there.
You know, it's always good to get the one play to get your offense going. I think you know what play I'm talking about. The actual end of the first quarter. How did that feel from your point of view, and then could you feel it lift the team? Because it certainly did.
Yeah, most definitely. From my point of view, it's cool. I'd been kind of a little quiet throughout the first quarter, didn't really get the ball a lot. So it felt good to get back out there and get a ball in game. And then obviously you could feel the momentum. Once that happened, you can just feel it on the sidelines. Everybody feels a little more amped up towards the game, so it was nice.
Yep, could feel it in the booth too. I was amped up.
That's right. Talk about this quarterback-receiver relationship, how you're clicking with Byram, because I know you two on and off the field have to be so dialed in with each other.
Yeah, we've honestly been kind of just following him around. I'll go about my stuff after practice, get my schoolwork done, and then I'll text him, be like, where you at? And then he's in the training room, I'll just go in the training room, sit with him, talk to him, whatever, or else we'll just go watch film. That's what we've been doing now because we're season have other teams to watch. So honestly, just kind of just follow him around. That helps build the relationship a lot.
That's good to know because you obviously have a connection with him, and that probably helped out a little bit. One thing that I can steal from our radio side last week, I know that one of the things you said you were looking forward to was to see him run because you know he can. And I thought on that touchdown run, you were right there ready.
Yeah.
Isn't he something?
No, yeah, that was insane. I was standing there, I was kind of in disbelief because I think the play where it got called back, the play that had got called back.
That was good too.
Yeah, I wasn't in the game. I was just standing on the sideline with my jaw was dropped. I was standing there just in awe watching him run.
So much power.
Yeah,
right?
Insane. And then when he hit number 0, I was like, you really didn't have to do that, but I respect it. He needed to do it. First game back, I don't blame him.
Dude, maybe it was a situation because he also did that run after the penalty where he trucked the guy. Was it a situation where he's not allowed to do that in practice and he just couldn't wait? Or is he allowed to do some of that stuff in practice?
Nah, the quarterbacks are always in red jerseys. Pretty sure that's a universal thing that quarterbacks aren't live. But yeah, so seeing it in person for the first time, it was
ready
cool.
to go. And so, not just you obviously, but I want you to speak on some of your buddies. Keyshawn, I just think he's phenomenal. Moody, I know you guys came in together and are getting along. It's a wonderful group. What is your viewpoint of it?
Yeah, we do have a lot of playmakers. Keyshawn had a good game. Obviously, he had the one roller across the middle, and then his touchdown, which was crazy. That was cool. It's amazing he stayed up at the end, breaking all those tackles. And then, but we have a lot of playmakers, so it'll be a good season. And then even the young guys too, they're all really talented. Being in college for a decent amount of time, you see new classes of kids come in, and all 3 of them, Corey, Jeremiah, and Christian, they're all going to be really successful throughout college, when their time comes.
Well, your journey to becoming a receiver is cool. You have a cool background. You started playing soccer, and you thought you were going to be a kicker.
Yeah.
So how'd you get to the point that you're at?
Well, growing up, Mom didn't allow us to like play football until school started. Until like school provided it. So played soccer, and then I got lessons from one of our like high school kickers at the time, and he went on, played for the Navy, but I was just like curious. So I went out, was kicking field goals. So like for a while I was just like, man, I'm just gonna be like a kicker.
And your brother is a kicker,
Yeah,
right?
he just graduated with his master's from Utah State. He had kicked there, and then yeah, so like I went to like football tryouts, and then like I wasn't gonna play, and then I was like talking to the high school coaches, and then I like went to football practice the next day because they had convinced me, and they put me at quarterback. And
Just like that.
Yeah. So I was like gonna be like quarterback and kicker. I knew I was gonna like kick, but I didn't know what position I was gonna play. So I like tried quarterback for a day, and then at the time like OBJ had made the one catch, like his one-handed catch. I think it was like a couple years after that, because that was in like 2016, right? Something like that.
So that play got you wanting to be a receiver?
Yeah, because I would see it on like Vine, like because like when Vine was a thing, I would see it on Vine all the time,
You old
and like
guy.
yeah, so like that catch, that's what made me want to play receiver.
Well, there's also the speed element too, because you also ran track in high school, right? Tell us a bit about that.
Track was cool. I ran like
Multi-sport athlete over here.
yeah, I started track in like 7th grade, and I ran it more for like fun in like 7th and 8th grade, and then once like football started, I kind of just was like, okay, I'm better at football, so like I'll run track for football. But I was like decent at track. I ran everything like up to the 400, and then did like long jump, triple jump. But I wasn't like an elite track athlete. I was just out there for like fun, talk to people with the meets.
All right, we got some fun stuff. First of all, we already know what the next trick play is going to be. He's going to be lined up at quarterback, and it's going to be a quick kick because he's such a good kicker. We just broke the news. Not this week, though, because no need for punting. Secondly, for fun, I like to come up with nicknames. Do you actually have one?
One that a lot of people, my 3rd grade teacher came up with the name Chazzer.
Chazzer?
Yeah, a lot of people call me it.
Okay.
Decent amount, like, and then like, I made it my spam name on Instagram.
His Instagram is actually his name, Chaz Nimrod. I came up with what I thought was a genius nickname, but you can tell me it's terrible, I love it, or just be honest and say, because someone put out, Byram is him. I think you should be Himrod.
Himrod? Yo.
So we got the him to Himrod connection.
Yo.
All right, that's set in stone.
Yo, no,
Set
that's
in
a good
stone.
one.
Okay,
that's,
thank you.
yeah.
Now, speaking of fun and
too.
Instagram, what have you noticed about his Instagram?
Yeah, I heard that you have a cat that you're pretty obsessed with.
Yeah.
Phil?
Yeah, Phil.
Tell us about Phil.
Phil, that's my guy. I got him from the shelter.
Oh.
Well, like I was in Knoxville. We had like done, they sent us to the animal shelter for a day, and I'd like just recently moved into an apartment, so like I was like just like hanging out, whatever, like, and I was like,
Needed some
a
company.
cat, yeah, like a dog would be, I'd so get a dog, but I don't want to get a dog until I have like a house, so I can like let him outside, he can run around, whatever.
Cats can just hang out.
Yeah, they can just like hang out, but so I like went to the shelter, and I was like, I didn't want to get one that was like a kitten because it's like a lot to do. So I got one that was like already kind of grown. And I kind of like saw him. I'm like the type of person, like when I see something like want it, I know. And so like I like saw him and was like, he was super nice and friendly. So I like,
Sweet.
I know, and I
Kinda
wasn't
just chose him.
expecting
It
to
was
get
like-
choked up about cats. But you're doing it to me. So does Phil like get any USF gear?
he actually does have a green little hoodie.
Cute.
Yeah, he does.
No, I can't wait to meet Phil.
And then he has a Rocky that at home. I have a Rocky stuffed animal for him at home. Yeah.
Cute.
Phil was very, very happy. Last thing we learned last week off air, now everyone's going to know. If you want to get juiced for a game, We love coffee. I drink a lot more of coffee than Caylee. How much do you drink?
I don't drink coffee at all.
No caffeine?
No caffeine at all.
No caffeine, yeah.
How do you stay awake?
Honestly, I kind of just like, I'll eat snacks in the meeting to keep myself awake, or I'll stand up. If I'm like really, really tired, I'll stand up.
Get your blood flowing a little bit.
Yeah.
And then better than falling asleep, I guess.
But yeah, I don't know. I've always woken up just like ready to go for the day. Like I don't really like, I've always just had a lot of energy since I was a kid, for sure. So like.
No grogginess over here.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I also take naps a lot throughout the day. So like that.
There you go.
That definitely helps a lot.
Recharge.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're doing, keep it going. Thank you for not falling asleep during this. You kept us wide awake. Go, Phil, and congratulations on your first game. Good luck this week. You have been in the swamp before. You ready for the noise?
Yes, sir. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Bulls are going to be making some noise. Hey, we covered a lot last week on the show. We did not want to forget what happened a couple weeks back on Victory Sunday. You'll see why. And then we'll wrap it up after that on Bullseye.
It's bigger than just football for me. It's teaching these kids not just what they get to do, but teaching them that they can do anything and everything.
We talk so much about giving more of yourself than taking. It really gives you an opportunity to put things in perspective, how fortunate you really are to have what you have.
We got some Special Olympians out here. It's just a really good time to be able to pass down some of the gifts that we've been given and showing them what it means to be a Bull.
It's my favorite night of the year. Pouring to some young people that are super cool.
It's a great opportunity just to be around kids and to have fun, really. We all love football.
Take what you have for granted ever. It makes you think, okay, when I'm really tired of practice, wishing I was inside in the AC, there's people that want to be doing this and don't get the opportunity. So it brings forward another sense of drive.
I thought it was cool how the band played when they scored.
The greatest thing about college football is the ability to impact lives.
As we wrap it up here, first of all, Caylee, I'm glad we got to show people what happened on Victory Sunday and some of the Bulls players just being so natural at guiding them too.
Yes, that was and still is one of my favorite days of the year, and Coach says that too, but especially talking to Mudia and who he was paired with, and I mean, they think of, you know, life and how hard it is on the field for them, and then it really to have a day that puts into perspective that there are other people who don't have the opportunities you have, who want to be out there, and it just gives them another sense of appreciation and drive going forward. So to be there and feeling the love that day, that's always so special to me.
Love learning all of that stuff. Love learning a lot of different things while we talk to the coaches. First of all, the PA moment with Lachlan Hewlett on the field was interesting. I did watch it back, and there was about 2 seconds from when the PA announcer announced that the quarterback was punting, basically, before the ball was snapped. So that would have been a tough one for Boise State to catch. But I do want to point out that, you know, sometimes I try to put together this very fancy analytical social media post, and sometimes I just see a replay of the punter side-eyeing the sideline. I'm like, I'm just going to take a screenshot of that and post it on social media with no commentary. And my photo of Lachlan Hewlett side-eyeing the sideline got 35,000 views. Listen,
Congrats.
speaking of, thank you. Yeah, I made the big time.
Yeah.
I made the big time. Joey's constantly looking for those hits.
Yeah, exactly.
You do our sideline hits for radio, and you do a great job. You're going to have to be doing some yelling. What's it like being in the swamp down there?
Well, the swamp is one of the great places in college football. I really enjoy the whole pageantry of the place and the traditions, and you know, the Tom Petty song in the third quarter is a cool thing too. But man, it's a tough place to play. I've covered a lot of games there over the years, and I haven't covered a lot of losses by the Gators, frankly. It's hot, it's humid, and it's intimidating. It feels like the people are on top of you. It's a tough place to play. But again, in a meaningful game like this one, no place you'd rather be, man. This is why we do this, to be part of things like this.
And, you know, I watched back the Gator game, and they've got some talent, as Coach Golesh so aptly described, but you've got to have confidence, obviously, to thrive in a place like that. As we wrap it up, Caylee, do you sense the team kind of has that confidence?
I'm so stoked for Saturday. I mean, you can see it in them, and especially to start the season the way we did, and that they can use that momentum and roll off that. And, you know, they looked great today and preparing as usual and sticking to their routine. And if you're prepared, you're prepared. I know Coach Golesh preaches the process.
Oh, yeah.
If they stick to their process, that they're rolling off of, then I think it's going to be a great day.
They know it's going to be a challenge. We know it's going to be a fun one, and we can't wait to talk to you about it next week on Bullseye. For Joey Johnston and Caylee Cottrell, and of course our guests Alex Golesh and Chaz Nimrod, I'm Darek Sharp. Thanks for checking us out, and as always, keep those horns up.